Welcome everybody. How are you guys doing? We have already started the week, the work week that is, but tonight we're starting a new week and a new book with Proverbs. We are now out of Psalms and now starting Proverbs tonight. We're going to do one chapter, see how it rolls, and go from there. Welcome everybody. My name is Stuart Davis, a flawed man of God, a humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm trying to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, issues, and current events, and give you my perspective on them. One that I think is reflective of your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 41 years, non-denominational Protestant. I don't subscribe to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Often I'll get it wrong. But no matter what, if you're catching me on the stream, if you're listening to my voice here, you can count on getting my honest takes on whatever it is that we are discussing. So if you are somebody new to Christianity or somebody exploring the faith, you feel lost. You're searching. You're reaching out for something and you're hoping or wondering at least that it might be Jesus, that it might be Christianity. And you're looking for some way to grasp some reason to believe that it's true. Now, spoiler alert, it is true. Spoiler alert, it is what you are looking for. Whether it's ultimately what you decide, that's purely up to you. But Jesus is the reason. But you're searching on the internet, right? It's late at night or whatever, or you're just browsing, you're doom scrolling through Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. And you see these TikToks, Instagram reels, YouTube shorts, whatever. But they all feel pre-produced. They all feel professionally made and just overly well done. They feel contrived. They don't feel real. And that's not what you're looking for. And you're worried about listening to a preacher or a pastor or a priest sitting up there in the pulpit because you think that's their profession. They're paid to do this. Right? If they don't convince you, or if they don't do their best to show to bring you into their side, they'll get fired. So they might say anything. Now that might be what you think. That's not how it works. At least not how it's supposed to work. Some preachers, there are cases where preachers can be unscrupulous. However, that's not how it is in general. And I understand how you might feel that way from the outside looking in. But that doesn't help you right now. Maybe you don't want to hear it from the pulpit. You just want to hear it from a guy who might be sitting in the pew next to you, who could say, "Hey, look, I've been doing this a long time. I've been in the faith for a while. This is what it means to me. This is what it's done for me. This is why. This is why it's important. And this is why it should be important to you too." If that's what you're looking for, I think you'll enjoy this chat. I think you'll enjoy this chat. It's very relaxed, very comfortable, very layperson approached. We're very open. If you're already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics or conversations, welcome as well. We run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or a Sunday school. Small group oriented. We're about the community. You see the folks in the chat. They're part of the show. You can be part of the show by being part of the chat. They're filing in here. Great group of folks tuning in and night out. Again, making the show better, and I couldn't thank them more. I do it every night, actually. And I'd like you to be part of that. I'd like you to be part of that. And how can you contribute into the chat, you say? Easy. Just talk, right? Tell me what you agree with or disagree with. What do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm right? Where do you think I'm wrong? What unique insight or perspective are you bringing? What kind of experience do you have that you can share based on whatever it is that we're talking about? We're out of Psalms now, so you don't have to worry about trying to interpret poetry or or prayers. We'll be talking about wisdom here. And I think that'd be a unique. But no matter what we're talking about, share your opinion. Ask questions. We're a small enough group, and we have been for a while, but we're a small enough group that if you put it in that chat, I'm going to read and respond to it. And I encourage you to do so. We'd love to have you here. Dag on it. That's not too bad after having 2 jumbo margarita flavored tequilas at the local Mexican restaurant, which was great, about an hour ago. I was worried. Because I was feeling it a bit that I might not be okay to get on stream tonight, but it looks like, dude, this is the first time I've really nailed an intro in a while. But it's good to see all you guys. Good to see all you guys again. Chat's filling up. A lot of the great regulars. Alex Moore, yay! The old music is back. Hey, it's gonna be the normal intro. This is gonna be the normal intro music. Blaine put a lot of effort into this, putting this together. A lot more effort than I put into it. So that's gonna be the normal intro music. We are going to sprinkle in those metrical salters from time to time because I love them. I really like them. And if they'd have been around when we did Psalms, we would have opened every episode with that. But we didn't. So we didn't. But they're here now. I've got a link to the playlist in YouTube. If any of y'all are interested, that'll stay in the description for each of these episodes going forward. I'm a huge fan. And big props to Philip Dorita for putting this together. It's definitely enjoyable. Matt Felty is here. Dresden from the other side of the pond. Alex Moore, new book hype. Yay! Nirnaeth is here. Glad I get to catch this while waiting to get through a border check. Joe, check those borders and what they're boarding. Alex Moore said, I was just doom scrolling anime news on Twitter. What's to doom scroll on anime side? Nico, we were just talking about you a few days ago because we hadn't seen you in a while. And I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see you. It'd be very good to have you in here. We've missed you mostly through Psalms, I think. It's been mostly through Psalms, some of Job, I think, too. But Nico, you don't know how important you are to this show. You're my control group, right? You're the guy who hasn't been exposed much to Scripture. You haven't been exposed much to the Bible, so a lot of the stuff we're talking about is new to you. And I love getting that fresh opinion. Is oh wow, you're in fact, and the funny thing is because you've been here since we were in Leviticus, I think. You've gone through parts of the Bible that a lot of people who grow up in the church are never exposed to. And that's a part of how we started this show to begin with. Or my idea for the show as a project within the show was going to be. We were going through the Old Testament in Sunday school, and we were trying to do it very slowly. We did it over 6 months for the middle schoolers. And I felt like, man, we're skipping. In order to do it just within 6 months, you're meeting once every Sunday for an hour or so with these kids. And you're like, man, we got to skip over so much to get through it. There's so much here. We should just go. It would be so great if we could go through it just verse by verse. And I was like, oh, that's an idea. That's an idea. It was part of the original planning within the show. I just didn't know when to wrangle it in. It didn't take long. But when you arrived to the show, Nico, I was so happy because I had somebody who wasn't exposed to Scripture at all, really. And getting your really just earnest, knee-jerk reactions and then having time to stew over it a little bit. But this is all fresh for you. You're not dealing with a childhood full of exposure and apologetics or teachings and schoolings or whatnot. This is just you reading it. And so that's what I said. You're an important ingredient uh of this show, and I'm glad to see you're here, buddy. No pressure. Nernea said, "Hello, Nico. It only took me leaving the country to bring you back, it seems. We're going to build a wall for you, Nernea. You're not coming back." Blaine's Escape Corner evening, everyone. Evening, Blaine. We're welcome. I guess we're all part of the me, you, Veritax are all part of the Lost Pet Society now with all the with all the goings on over the last week. Veritex said FBI was authorized to use deadly force when they raided Mar-a-Lago. These headlines write themselves. I didn't even read that today. I've been busy. Your Nance said, new book is a great time to start back. Yes. And we'll see how this is going to roll with us. Like I said, wasn't sure how we were going to do Psalms, but it came in naturally. We were able to roll through it. We got our stride on it. But it was long. It's 150. That's 75 episodes, really. Give or take a few, because there was one that we had to break up into 2 episodes. That's a long time when you're only doing them 2, 3, 4 episodes a week. We've been in Psalms for a long time. We will not be anywhere near that for we'll see how Proverbs breaks down. But I'm very excited to doing it because Proverbs is great because there's plenty of laughs, there's plenty of deep thinking, there's plenty of discussion points as you go through Proverbs. It's just a good read. Like for the chap to be as participatory as ever when discussing this stuff. Alias is here. What's going on, sir? Nico said, nope. Naya, did you get to Cambodia, where I'm definitely from? Bulgaria. Sitting in a border check-in in Bulgaria. I just got a buddy who's come back from Poland. Nico said, yeah, I missed a lot of Psalms. I just finished my first semester, so I'm hoping to be more engaged over the summer. Hey, well, you get here in the summer, and then I got to take a lot of time off during the summer because I've got stuff I got to do professionally and personally, but we're still streaming. Their Nance getting trafficked. On tour in Turkey and East Europe for 3 weeks. Been about a week, 2 more to go. Give me a souvenir, but travel safe, Nernea. Thad, what book? Proverbs, Thad. Yeah. We're all talking about the new book of the Bible that we're talking about. Not new as in Mormons have a new book of the Bible that they call the Book of Mormon that's not part of the Bible, but new as in the next book. Not me yet, just got the diagnosis. Prayer still needed over surgery or no. That's a tough one. Because they ain't cheap. And then you got to think of quality of life and the effectiveness, the percentage of effectiveness and all that stuff. It's not fun. But sorry, Blaine. I thought that the cat was already in the bag, so to speak. In the sack, whatever they put cats. Mine's ready to be picked up at the veterinary. They've burned them in the remains. So supposedly the WEF has Trump on a hit list too, of course. Matt Felty, deadly force. Nico, oh snap, stay safe. Yep. I worry more about Butker. Butker's speech was based. He made one. He did make a mistake about the what was it? The congressional law. He said basically passing a law that quoting the Bible will get you thrown in jail. It's not a law against it. It's just defining the scripture, part of scripture in the Bible as anti-Semitism. But not to say that can't be used against you in the court of law or in the court of public opinion or whatever, because now they can say, oh, you like the Bible? That's in there. That's anti-Semitic. Blah, 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 blah. But liked a lot of his speech. Some of you guys might split with him over IFB and surrogacy. I don't really. But again, everybody's throwing a fit about this or forgetting one thing. He's a private citizen talking or giving a speech to a private university to other private citizens who don't have to listen, don't have to take his advice, but I would advise them to. The Catholic Church has got, and if any of you guys saw the uh, 60 Minutes episode on Sunday, the Catholic Church has got a lot of, there's a lot of confusion going on. And you wouldn't know that if you were scrolling through Catholic Instagram, because Catholic apologetics on Instagram are hard, and it's all basically the same thing. We wrote the Bible, so everything we say. So that's why you should be Catholic, because we wrote the Bible. Meanwhile, in Realville, and this is I've got Catholic brothers and sisters who are struggling because they have a leader like Pope Francis who does not seem to want to lead biblically, does not want to look to God's instructions to us to lead the biggest church in Christianity. But you got a kicker who understands the faith better than him. And so, again, we should pray for each other. We've been talking in the Discord a lot about praying for people who need help, whether regardless of what help they need or what's ailing them. We talk about just pray for them, because you don't know for certain. We pray for your folk, for our fellows and ourselves in our different denominations, that we can shake off, that pendulum will swing the other way, and we can shake off these modernistic interpretations and kneeling to societal norms, just because we're worried about how many butts we're going to put in the pews. We're worried about the church dying. The church is not going to die. And to use something that the Roman Catholics are very fond of putting on there, the hell will never overcome the church, and I'm in firm agreement with that. God is more than Satan. Jesus secured that win on the cross, and then it once again, kind of the follow through, right? He got the contact on the cross and the follow through with the resurrection. The war is over. We're just fighting battles. We're just fighting battles in the aftermath now. But we need to win these battles. These battles are still important. These battles are over us, our neighbors, and our family, and our descendants. And that's the important thing. So pray for your fellow Christians. Pray for your Catholic buddies. It's not a great time. It's a time. It's not. There's a lot of uncertainty going on with the administration. Pray that they do have certainty in the Lord. Pray that you have certainty in the Lord. We all have certainty in the Lord. But our leadership on many fronts is kowtowing to, in essence, Satan's plan to undermine the faith. But good for Butker for sitting up there. Good for him from standing by. Good for it sounds like the Hunt family, who own the Chiefs, kind of standing behind him on it. They haven't released him. They haven't. One of the ladies in the family came out and said, "Hey, there's nothing wrong with being with a lot of what he said, and if you don't like it, then don't have to listen to it." Mr. Hawley is here. Woohoo! Alex Moore, 75 episodes. Wow. And also the Silly Fantasy team crap, too. I lost against Figs this week, but my team's struggling. I've got a lot of folks who aren't living up to their billing. I already welcome Steve. Glad to have you here. Nico, gonna catch up when I'm not. Hey, that's a great idea. Nune said, I'll drop some Ortho Church and Monastery pics in the Discord. Yes! You know who's gonna love that? Yex is gonna love that. Make sure you tag him. Stu might need some Gregorian chants. Got any of those? No, but I haven't asked. Blaine said, pickup is the worst. Don't remember getting my first cat from the vet afterwards. Yeah, this will be my fourth. This will be my fourth. We had, I've talked about my wife's dog that ended up being our dog. We had her, and then we got a beagle. Then we got Halo, who we just had to put down, and then we got another cat, Fable. And Fable was relatively young, 4 or 5 years old, I think. Got some sort of wasting disease and just lost weight until that was our cat. That was our second cat. Just wasting disease until he just had no strength left, and we had to. So he was the first one we lost, and then my wife's Boston. She got sick from basically eating the neighbors leaving trash out, and we can't blame them for doing that. She got out. She ate what she wasn't supposed to. Then we had to go pick her up. And then the beagle, finally, he was 14, 15 years old, long life, just, looked like he had cancer, heart failure, or, all sorts of stuff going on. He'd put them down, and then Halo at the end lasted the original, what we call the original 4, the original 3, whatever you want to see it. But all 4 that we had within the first 2 years of us being married, for the year we dated and the first 2 years after we got married, they're all gone now. And yeah, it's sad. But we've got all 4 of them and bought nice little boxes. Turkey is pretty secular, but definitely Muslim influenced. Oh yeah, I'll be heading into more Christian countries. I'll keep an eye out. Very, very cool. Blaine said farce. I wrote farce. Did I read it wrong? Hang on, now I got to go back and find. Where did I miss you? Oh, they're like deadly farce. Daggone it. You're right, Matthew. I'm sorry about that. That said, IFV is really bad. I would say that if you have to start a car 10 times, I would say it's broke. Vertex said, yeah, Catholic YouTubers have been flipping into my feed too. I like there's some sort of propaganda push, pretty much laughing at any non-Catholics. And that's really my problem with the Catholic apologetics on Instagram. It's very much Protestants this, Protestants that. It's almost made me try to start a rebuttal for it's one guy in particular, Catholic redneck or whatever. Apparently, over 50 years, he's jumped churches like 6 times. But now he's figured it out, right? Now he's figured it out. And now he's just dunking on him. And did you know this? And all of his apologetics are terrible. I don't care. Catholics have good arguments. There are well-read, faithful, articulate Catholics who can go out there and say and give a good argument. What about this? And you could go, oh, okay. Well, I don't agree with it, and this is here, but you got a formula. But you can understand this stuff is just bad. And if all you can do is give talking points that really aren't that well informed, don't get on Instagram. Don't get on Instagram, and especially don't go after fellow Christians. It's bad. And don't tell me the whole, when I was a Catholic, when I was a Protestant, Catholics never attacked me, but now that I'm a Catholic, Protestants are always attacking me. It's both ways. They're fighting a war in Ireland between Catholics and Protestants. So don't tell me it's just a one-way street. It's not. Just shut up. Shut up. Own it and do what you can. Clean your own house, which has got plenty of problems, and we will stick to cleaning our own as well. I love you guys. And I consider y'all brothers and sisters of Christ. Like I said, I love you guys. I disagree with a lot of stuff. Most of it's dogma centered and tradition centered, but that does not mean I doubt y'all's faith in the Lord. Ugh. Hey, JP2 was awesome. Benedict was better than I thought. I don't think either of them were all that great. I don't think they've had a really good pope since Vatican II. I don't even know if they've had a good pope in a couple of centuries. They've been okay. Some have been okay. Benedict stepped down. None of them really did a good job at attacking issues that they were being attacked on. And a lot of it has been defending yourself, which and it's basic it's like we talk about the pendulum swinging. In the old days, the pendulum was on the extreme. Oh, we're putting to death anybody who comes after us. You not cross the church. You not cross the Catholic Church. To the other thing, it was like, oh yeah, well, hand wringing. Oh, I'm gonna wring my hands over this. Stop it. Just defend yourself and fix your problems. Address the problems. The priest issue is a real one. Is it as bad as what goes on in public school? No. But say, hey, look, we've identified this problem. We're going to address it. You guys won't. Secular world isn't going to do it because y'all don't really think this is a problem. We understand it's a problem. We're going to take it, and we're going to do our best to make amends to the people who were wrong. That's how you fix something. Admit it. Don't try to blow over it. So again, Catholics are great. A lot of their infrastructure, a lot of their administration has been horrible, and it's been like that for a long time, I think. And it's not winning me over to Catholicism anytime soon with that. Fairtex said, we thought about IFB with my first wife. We opted for meds to help with hormones, but it didn't help. Months later, after we gave up, bam, pregnant with my daughter. God's timing is the best. There you go. Regular Abraham and Sarah over there. Fairtex, the institutional church may die, but the true church will never die. If we have to meet in living rooms and kitchens, we will. Amen. I'm not even sure if the institutional church will die. Institutional churches will die because a lot of times they will give in and fall to, again, what the secular norms are, what the world wants them to be. They tried their hardest in the early AD. And good for them. Now you sound like the T-ball coach got called in for a school chapel day. What? Fairtex said it would be hilarious if they extended him just to rub the cancel mob's noses in it. Oh, yeah, that would be great. Steve Hawley said, if Satan is after us and we're the church, doesn't that mean that Satan can take over the church? Here and there? Sure. But over the whole faith? No. Because you got to remember, the Lord, what's the saying, right? The Lord works in mysterious ways. Satan is opposing him. But you think if it really comes to a tug of war match between him and God, who's going to win? Who's going to win? But ultimately, look, we are a unwell society. We are unwell people. But there are still those of us, even though unwell, even those sinners, unlike what the Pope says, Pope Frank says, we are sinners. We aren't good in the biblical sense. We're good in the colloquial sense of you're a person who chooses to do the right thing most of the time, or you act in a good way towards other people, but not in a biblical sense. We are not good. We sin constantly. We require God's grace. And yet, even that, as lost we are, we have to, it's not like I'm the only YouTuber out here and I'm on the underground trying to fight. There are thousands of YouTubers, social media influencers, or whatever. On top of that, millions of small groups. The Catholic Church is billions of years old, or billions of people strong. Are some of us in error? Yeah. Are a lot of us in error? Probably. But we're still there. There's still right. There's still folks with a righteous mindset getting through. And I don't think that that's going to stop. I used to think that, yeah, we're only one generation away from the church disappearing. I don't actually, I realize that that's limiting God. And I realize that um, that's not having faith in him. But we shouldn't have, we shouldn't have faith in man to save us, which is this, we need to do this or the church is going to go. No, we just need to make sure we follow the rules. We just really need to do, we lean on God, and we help each other do it too. We don't leave anybody hanging just because, you know, they're not doing well. Damn those drooling deer, says Blaine. Alex said, "Yeah, I'm done with my pets. I'm done with pets. My son's last pet was for me. With the suffering, I'm pro putting to sleep now. I might get one for my mom, but she's like the bird feeder, and she likes the bird feeder enough. Uh, we just got a fish. I don't know what that fish is doing. He's on the top a lot, and I've come in there. Is this the day he's gonna be dead? He's still hanging in there. Reagan plus JP2 brought down the Soviet Union. I'll agree with that. Yes. Oh, the follow through. Yeah. Oh, I'm a big believer in follow through and all sorts of things. Soccer, uh, all follow through in your work and just professional career. Follow through is key. It's how you show. It's the follow through is the professional touch. It's the refined. It shows that you've been here before. How'd the test drive go? Very glad you asked. Very glad you asked. Um, just reading Thad's comment. So, it's supposed to be Friday. And I told you they called me Thursday night, afternoon, late afternoon, saying, "Hey, whatever." I was like, "Yeah." They called me Friday morning. The truck had already sold. So I'll take that as a sign is the Stinger is here to stay for a while. Because I love that car. I do. I love it to death. And it was going to be, they were going to have to throw a heck of a deal at me. And I knew that they probably would have wanted it I probably would have gotten a pretty good deal on it on trade-in. But it's a fun car to drive. And that is coming from somebody who used to have a WRX. It's good. So we're not good. We are all Michael Cohen wannabes. Well, maybe more Michael O'Malley's, not Cohen's. In contrast to us not being good, our pastor called his aunt to get her perspective on Matthew 22:30, and she said, Jesus said it, so it must be good. Jesus is good. What does Matthew 22:30 say? Boop. Doop, doop. Come on. For in the resurrection, neither do men marry nor are women given in marriage, but they are like angels in heaven who do not marry nor produce children. Whew. Oh, yeah, that's part of the Sadducees trying to gotcha moment Jesus, and he just runs a whole circle around them. I still think there's a bond there. I know that might be an unpopular opinion, but I know that I still think there's a bond there because I think that God puts us together for that to help us understand. I think there's a reason why family units exist and we aren't just all floating around and we don't just pop out of the ground. I think that there is a real reason behind it, but could be wrong and you need to be open to it. But I'm very, very much a believer in that. I haven't seen a single brand new one, but um I understand why it sold as fast as it did. They're hot looking cars, but we're not going to get one. At least not right now. You know what else looks good right now? But it's not as big because it doesn't have the third row seat the way that Traverse has it. The Forerunners, the 2025 Forerunner looks really good too. Those two are probably the two best looking SUVs. Land Cruiser, especially with the new pricing, looks very good. But there's some Toyota and Chevy are definitely showing up on the aesthetics. All right, we are 40 minutes in and we haven't even started into this Proverbs stuff. So let's pull it up. Usefulness of Proverbs. Proverbs 1. Now, again, it's going to say it pretty much at the beginning. King Solomon, the king, the man who, when asked by God, I will give you anything your heart desires. And Solomon just said, give me the strength and the wisdom to rule my people in the way that you would see fit. And God said, say no more, fam. And Solomon is Solomon's not perfect. He screws up at the end, but Solomon is you could argue the greatest Israelite king we have. So he writes down some of his key wisdoms here. And so let's go over, because this is 33. Let's see what we can go over tonight. The Proverbs, truths, and we're back in the Amplified translation. The Proverbs, truths, obscurely expressed maxims of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel. To know skillful and godly wisdom and instruction, to discern and comprehend the words of understanding and insight, to receive instruction in wise behavior and the discipline of wise thoughtfulness, righteousness, justice, and integrity. That prudence, good judgment, astute common sense may be given to the naive or inexperienced who are easily misled, and knowledge and discretion, intelligent discernment to the youth. The wise will hear and increase their learning, and the person of understanding will acquire counsel in the skill to steer his course wisely and lead others to the truth. To understand a proverb and a figure of speech or an enigma with its interpretation, and the words of the wise and their riddles that require reflection. The reverent fear of the Lord, that is, worshiping him and regarding him as truly awesome, is the beginning and the preeminent part of knowledge, its starting point and its essence. But arrogant fools despise skillful and godly wisdom and instruction and self-wisdom, or self-discipline. Sorry. Forerunner has a third row. Yeah, you just can't. They don't have a captain's seat option for the middle row. Third row is for paraplegics. Yeah. What I usually say is it's kind of like the back seat in a Mustang or Camaro, or it's for little kids, or it's just a conversation piece. It's not really a practical thing. Don't get a Forerunner for that. I would definitely say the Traverse is better on the space. Anyway, so the Proverbs, right? This is an introduction. This is an introduction to say, look, this is wisdom for everybody. This is wisdom bestowed to Solomon from God, so you know it's good, right? This is 100% organic godliness being spoken here. We see and we see thoughtfulness, righteousness, justice, integrity, prudence, knowledge, discretion, that kind of stuff. And whether you're young and naive or you're old and wise, you will benefit from contemplating and studying these proverbs. And go back to Blaine talking about me sounding like a T-ball coach. Fundamentals. Say it. This is something I repeat a lot. The fundamentals. It's good to learn when you don't know the game because you find out what's most important, the basics, the bones of the faith. And then even after you're a professional at it, practice, the repetition, the muscle memory, the reminders. Because when I grew up in the church and I walked away from church, not even walking away from God, just walking away from the church. Because my church had failed me and my family. And thought they're never going to get it right. But coming back to another church and sitting there in the sermons, and it didn't take long before I realized that I used to be here. This is probably where I was supposed to be, but I used to be here, and now I was way over here, still supposed to be over here. But now that I was older and now that I was listening, it was able to pull me back and get much closer to where I needed to be in the center. And coming in every week and dealing with frustrations and worries, failures, mistakes, recenter me. Put me around people who help out. Be reminded of God's love. Be reminded of grace and forgiveness. The basics, the bones of the faith. What we're getting here, basics and bones to wisdom. Because what you're going to hear in these Proverbs, if you haven't read them before, are life truths. And you're going to sit there and go, yep. If you really think about it, be like, yep. And if the older you are, the more likely you are to have run into this before. Where you go, yep, I've been there. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Man, I really need to keep that in mind more often than not. But I like this part at the end. Arrogant fools despise skillful and godly wisdom and instruction to self-discipline. Ignore these proverbs, ridicule these problems, cast aside these proverbs at your peril. Because like we said, it's God-breathed. So I don't know. So is this where I think they might just get into it? Let's see. The enticement of sinners. My son, hear the instruction of your father, and do not reject the teaching of your mother. For they are a garland of grace on your head, and chains and ornaments of gold around your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood. Let us ambush the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them alive like Sheol, the place of the dead, even whole as those who go down to the pit of death. We will find and take all kinds of precious possessions. We will fill our houses with spoil. Throw in your lot with us, they insist. We will all have one money bag in common. My son, do not walk on the road with them. Keep your foot far away from their path, for their feet would run to evil, and they hurry to shed blood. Indeed, it is useless to spread the baited net in the sight of any bird. But when these people set a trap for others, they lie in wait for their own blood. They set an ambush for their own lives and rush to their destruction. So are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. Greed takes away the lives of its possessors. Oof. Interesting, this is where they start. Well, really, if you think about it, let's stop here for a second. We've read 2 parts of the first chapter. What did it start off with? This is wisdom. Take wisdom for what it is. Take these proverbs and take them seriously because they're coming from God. That's your first bit. The second bit that we just read, the enticement of sinners, is why don't you come with us? Why don't you get This is a good indictment of prosperity gospel, or from if you're looking for for sinning within the church, and not necessarily the people being taken advantage of, the people taking advantage of them. I don't know what you've done. I know as an example, I used to steal as a kid baseball cards. I've still got baseball cards over there that I stole from Target and from Walmart. Stole micro machines. I stole toys and baseball cards because my parents told me no a lot, and I didn't want to hear no. So if I saw some loose baseball cards sitting around on the stack, I would sneak a few into my pocket. I popped a few micro machines out of their packets and I took them home. I'd stolen I've stolen Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars from friends because I wanted it. You wanted it. And I still remember that to this day. That I did it. And that's me as a kid. When have I stolen? I did engage in some ripping some of peer-to-peer files off of LimeWire, stuff like that, because I wanted it. But now, you look at it, me looking at it now, opportunities where I could say, "Huh, yeah, I could skim a little bit here. Nobody would know." What goes through my mind? Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'd get away with it. But I would know, and God knows, and it's not the right thing. If I'm going to be, and who am I to be an example if I'm doing the wrong thing, even when no one is around? That's some of the best test of character. Do you do the right thing when nobody is watching? When nobody will know? Do you do the right thing in video games because you don't want to do the wrong thing? Hey, that's where I'm at. Right? That doesn't mean I make the right decision all the time. But when we talk about greed and whatnot, and I like nice things. Like having nice things. I'm blessed with nice things in my life, materially, not just family wise. Like I said, I'm always waiting for that other shoe to drop. But is it worth hurting others to enrich yourself? And this is talking about murdering. We're just talking. I didn't want to take it to that side because this is probably not something we could all relate to. We're like, hey, let's go kill people and steal from them. Probably let's just steal, or let's just defraud our employer or our neighbor or whatever, or your church. Here's the important part here, where it really do not walk up, my son. Do not walk on the road with them. Keep your foot far away from their path. People like this, you want to keep distance with. For their feet run to evil, and they hurry to shed blood. Indeed, it is useless to spread the baited net in the sight of any bird. But when these people set a trap for others, here we go. They lie in wait for their own blood. They set an ambush for their own lives and rush to their destruction. So are the ways for everyone who is greedy for gain. Greed takes away the lives of its possessors. It'll hurt you more in the end. I used to be God to ants, and it was great. Shut up. Sometimes it was a great flood, other times Sodom. Has anyone tried driving the speed limits in GTA? No, my son I was showing my son. My son's been playing some of my old Xbox 360 games, which makes me feel old because I remember when like Xbox 360 was the new Xbox. And I feel old. But there was a game, Test Drive Unlimited, which is which is an open world uh car game where, just like many of them, kind of like your Gran Turismo or uh or Forza, only it's not racing on a track, it's racing around the island of Oahu against a few other cars or against time challenges or whatever. And he did not want to, he stopped for the stoplight. He stopped for the stoplights and did not like driving the speed limit. I'm sitting there like, man, I was like, you're just trying to fool me into thinking when it's time for you to get a car, I'm going to trust you with it. Veritex says the only churches that could be subsumed by Satan are churches that the truth has already left. Amen. Amen. But it's sad to see. It's sad to see. People will worship their vices over God. All right. Here's our last group. We might do this one chapter at a time like this. We'll see. Wisdom warns. Wisdom shouts in the streets. She raises her voice in the markets. She calls out at the head of the noisy streets where large crowds gather. At the entrance of city gates, she speaks her words. How long, O naive ones, you who are easily misled, will you love being simple minded and undiscerning? How long will scoffers who ridicule and deride delight in scoffing? How long will fools who obstinately mock truth hate knowledge? If you turn and pay attention to my rebuke, behold, I, wisdom, will pour out my spirit on you. I will make my words known to you. Because I called and you refused to answer, I stretched out my hand and no one has paid attention to my offer and treated you and you treated all my counsel as nothing and would not accept my reprimand. I will also laugh at your disaster. I will mock when your dread and panic come. When your dread and panic come like a storm and your disaster comes like a whirlwind, when anxiety and distress come upon you as retribution, then they will call upon me, wisdom, but I will not answer. They will seek me eagerly, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord, that is, obeying him with reverence and awe-filled respect. They would not accept my counsel, and they spurned all my rebuke. Therefore they shall eat of the fruit of their own wicked way and be satiated with the penalty of their own devices. For the turning away of the naive will kill them, and the careless ease of self-righteous fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me, wisdom, will live securely and in confident trust, and will be at ease without fear or dread of evil. This one's big, right? Wisdom warns. And this is kind of a lot. We can pull a lot about recent things. Wisdom warns. We were talking about Harrison Butker, what he's talking about. You can go out there and say, look, this is what makes sense. You can shout until you're blue in the face. Wisdom shouts in the streets. She raises her voice in the markets. She calls out at the head of the noisy streets. How long until you guys remember? We all guys remember. How long until you guys appreciate prudent and righteous living is? How long are you going to make fun of it? How long are you going to dance in the streets pretending it doesn't exist? That's the case. You're going to have to lie in the bed you made, because when chickens come home to roost, I'm using I'm using idioms and sayings to talk about Proverbs. But when it all comes to a head and you're reaping what you sow on this, you're going to wish you had thought differently, and you're going to panic. And if you don't realize if you're not really ready to realize that you're wrong, you're just in a panic. You're you're not going to do the right thing, because you spend so much time convincing yourself you were right. You probably just think you didn't do it right, and didn't do the wrong thing the right way enough. It's it's a tough place to see people in that position. It's a tough place to see societies in that position. What do you think about the kids? Because the kids grow up either victims of it, and they don't survive, or they end up victims of it because they don't learn the lessons that their parents made. And you see people who, these are good people. These are people made in God's image, and they're all falling apart. Or you look at yourself, or I look at me. We look at we, and we go, man, really, really should have seen that coming. Really should have learned from my mistake, but I didn't. And here I am making the same mistakes again. And again, wrap it up at the end. Whoever listens to me, wisdom, will live securely and in confident trust, and will be at ease without fear or dread of evil. If you're doing the right thing, you got nothing to worry about. Doesn't mean that nothing bad is going to happen to you, but you are going to live with a clearing conscience. Not just probably well because you're doing the right thing, they're doing the smart thing, but you're also living life with a clean conscience. Because remember, Job was troubled, but he felt like he had a clean conscience, because he knew he didn't do, even when his friends were accusing him and trying to convince him he did something wrong, he knew he didn't do anything wrong. But God was upset at him for something. Blaine said marriage has to be a covenant because of the fall. In heaven, we can be just like Adam and Eve. Naked. Yeah. Lucy says, if there's a question for everyone here, if anyone knows about Leviathan, what do you think it is? Is it real, and is it still alive? Was reading Job recently and had that question stuck in my head. The better one to read is Jonah. Um, it's one of those mysteries to me. It's something that I ponder. It's interesting. It was like, was there really a creature? Did it die, or did God just make it appear and disappear? Both are equally uh, um, possible, because God can work in whatever way he sees fit. But what were they seeing? What was he referring to? They said Leviathan. Everybody kind of understood what it was, but not all the things about it. There's a lot of thoughts on it, and I think we got into it when we were in Job. I can't remember. Veritex said, I wouldn't take Matthew 22:30 to suggest we wouldn't spend time with family. I'm sure we will, but the body is going to be redeemed and things are going to be different. Now that, Veritex, I do agree with. Veritex said, I've always thought Leviathan was the species that is Nessie. Is Leviathan a plesiosaur? Blaine said, combination of old world thinks everyone in the ocean is huge and we always find new things. Just found a blade hand sea creature who's just a crab with weird claws. Leviathan was a manatee. Or was a whale. Could have been a whale, just an actual whale. Lucy said, I always thought Leviathan was a beast that is ever elusive and always near the thing that show mankind how small they are and how overwhelming God is. That's a very good point. That said, I seem to remember that Christ is often equated with wisdom. Well, wouldn't he be? Good job, Nico. Not sinless, but blameless. Good correction there, buddy. I like that. Thank you for correcting me there. He knew he was blameless. But I've heard Home say it might be the type of long-necked dinosaur that was a plant eater. I forget what type that is. I've been thinking we misunderstand the sin analogy because people don't understand archery. Well, just understand that you're not supposed to do it. Thad said Leviathan is spiritual, not physical. You get some good answers to that question, Lucy. That's Behemoth. That's Behemoth, Veritex. Wonder if there's a way I can start a poll. I don't think there is on here. I would love to be able to do a poll from time to time in here about like, what do y'all think? Right? Maybe not from what we were discussing that day, but what we were discussing the day before. Like, what do you think? What is Leviathan? And give a couple of options, the general options, and see what everybody thinks. StreamYards doesn't seem to have that option. Just ask the Japanese. I hear they're intimately familiar with Leviathan. You probably eat it. Eat everything in the sea. Veritax said the figurative language in Job 41 makes me think how large Leviathan was and how difficult to control. But if it is spiritual, it's obviously man's tongue. Ooh, that's a hey. Just open YouTube chat, you goob. Okay. I'm sorry, I am boomer. You have all these controls. Make mods, run polls. Yeah, but then I have to come back and look at it. Jeez. Hang on a second. I'm going to wrap the stream up in just a moment. Oh my gosh. Why is this taking so long? So forever to load. Why did I even do it that way? Start a poll. Okay. Well, y'all remind me next time to start that poll, and I'll do it. But we're not going to do it now because we're at the end of the stream. But it'd be like give you guys time to think, ponder over what we're talking about. Then that'll give you, I'd be like, hey, what did you think about the last episode thing? That would be cool. I thought Behemoth was a rhinoceros. I've also heard elephant. Leviathan equals Tiamat. Let's not get into that, Lucy. Oh, hippopotamus. Hey, they're angry enough. All right, guys. Well, look at us. Wrapped up in just over an hour. Hour and 10 minutes almost. Probably when this is all said and done. Behemoth is a... Leviathan is Gazira. Gozira. Make sure you bait the pole properly. or fish won't bite. Yeah, that's good to remind me as someone who doesn't use the traditional method of fishing and instead just shoots arrows into fishes. I did say fishes. Oh, a do throws holes through community tab? Will it pop up in midstream? Nico. Oh, great. Why is it everything's kind of acting wonky? All right. Anyway, like I said, we'll wrap up here. So, Nico, Veritax, Lucy, Alias, ask your doctor if Leviathan is right for you. Blaine, Mr. Felty, Thad the Man, Steve Hawley, Alex Moore, Nernaeth, safe travels, buddy. Dresden, all you folks, thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for your contributions. You're awesome. You're awesome. We got poll ideas for tomorrow. For tomorrow night, y'all need to remind me because I will definitely forget because that's just how I am. I got poll stuff, questions for tomorrow, and hey, more Proverbs 2 to get into. So we'll try just doing 2, and if we can move more, then we'll do more than one proverb a night. But there's so much to pull apart from some of these proverbs per chapter that I'm not going to rush. I'm not rushing through content just because we need to, just because it needs to be done in an episode. Big Pharma Leviathan probably has GMOs in it. For me, not hook, not a pole, barb. Where's my my arrow, my bow fishing arrows are over there. Maybe I'll show y'all one day. All right. So to you guys in the chat, thank you. Thank you for everything y'all talk about. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you guys. Glad to see so many of you guys here. Glad you had a good weekend. Hope your weekends were good. To everybody who is listening and just listening, not interested in being part of the chat or not able to be part of the chat. Just glad you're here, finding content you like tuning into regularly. I encourage you to be part of the chat. Would love to hear from you, but I understand. Everybody catching me on replay, thank you for watching. Sorry I missed you. Hope to catch you live sometime soon. You guys have a great night. See you tomorrow. Like I said, good night and God bless.